Hello everyone, and welcome to another beer review. Now, we're going to do another one of the low alcohol series. That's what we're going to be doing today. I think there's a couple still to do, and this is one of them. So what we've got is the original, which is Adnams Ghost Ship. So there you go. And we have a 0.5% by volume, and currently, what does it say? Yes, there's both kind of citrus pale ales, and yes, so we've got Ghost Ship 0.5%. I can hardly speak today, but yeah, doesn't that look like a beauty, ladies and gentlemen? There we go. Apparently it's bold citrus flavours from a citra hops. There we go. Right, there's no real spill in the back apart from pale ale, 0.5% by volume, and that's it. And yeah, and it's brewed in Southwold. Any stuff in the back? A wee bit. There's inspired by the tales of old smuggling ships along the Suffolk coast. This hauntingly good pale ale is full of citrus and biscuit aromas with a spookily hoppy bite. I can think of another word that rhymes with bite that would probably be more appropriate. But anyway. And this is 4.5%. And it's both 500ml, which is great if they're really nice, or not so great if they're really crap. But I think they're roughly about the same price basically. So the 0.5% one is the same price as the 4.5% one. So let's get them poured with my, I remembered it this time. So what we'll do is, I'll pour the 0.5% one first, let that settle. We'll pour the normal original one, and then what I'll do is I will taste the 0.5% one first, so I'm getting it fresh on a fresh palate, so I'm not drinking the full fat one and then taking it afterwards. So there we go. So we poured this. Ooh. Let's see what this is like. I'll be totally honest with the low alcohol and non-alcoholic versions of the beers. They've been really quite crap. I mean, I was actually quite surprised what they've actually been doing with them. I mean, seriously. So there we go. We'll just get a wee picture of that. There you go. So there's a kind of head. Right, so we'll get the next one. A busy old table this, isn't it? Busy old table. Beer bottles everywhere. Woohoo! There you go. That's that. Come on now. Right, so this is the original, the real McCoy, as they say. Now what we did have with the low alcohol versions or the non-alcoholic versions is I actually felt like there was no fermentation going on. They just basically watered down the wort. Basically they filtered the wort, watered it down, and there you go. Right. Well, I'm not going to smell it too much, but when I opened the bottle I was getting a completely different smell. In fact, I wasn't really getting a smell with this one. But what we'll do is we'll do a picture of this one. In fact, I might do it this side so I can get an idea. So this is the original, and we'll put that over there. So here's the 0.5. Now I'm getting some hops. I wasn't really getting the hops coming from when I was pouring the bottle. I got that with the original. When I was pouring it, I was getting wafts of kind of floralness and hops coming, but I wasn't getting that. I'm getting some now, and yes, I'm getting a little bit of floralness and a little bit of citrus as well off that. Not really getting any grain or malt from it, and you can see the colour of it. The head is dissipating a bit, but let's see what it tastes like. Well, the first thing I've noticed, which is a bit strange compared to all the other ones, it's not sweet. So that's the first thing that stands out to me. There isn't that kind of false, kind of strange sweetness that you get with a lot of them. It's not in this one. It's quite bitter, so it is. Quite bitter around the mid-tongue as well as the aftertaste. So, let's smell the real one. Get a little bit of citrus. Not so much of the floral, but a bit more of the citrus. No real malts or grain smells at all. So let's see what this tastes like. Well, that's kind of interesting, because what this tastes like, which is the original, is quite similar. To what this tastes like. I would say the flavours are just slightly toned down in the low alcohol version one, just slightly toned down, but the flavours are actually very similar, surprisingly, very similar. And I've got to admit, it's not my favourite ale in the world, is the Ghost Ship. It's okay, it's fine. I can drink it, things like that. I probably wouldn't really choose it on its own, but I have been in some pubs a few months back, and was having something to eat. I was visiting family members, and I thought, oh, it's on there, well, I'll just have a glass of that to go with the food, and it was fine. It went fine with the food and things like that. On its own, yeah, I probably find it quite sickening very quickly, and it's not a type of beer that I would want to drink a few of them. I think the odd glass now and again is fine, and it's more palatable with food, but I'm not going to tell you what it goes well with. You can find it out yourself, but yeah, it's okay from that point of view. But yeah, I find other ales more enjoyable. But yeah, now there's a slight sweetness on the original. What isn't there? Slightly more bitterish flavour coming from the 0.5%, which is a bit unusual. What we'll do is we'll break it down. I'll break this as a 0.5%. I'll break it down and see what it tastes like. Right. What you're getting is, you're starting off with citrus and a little bit of floralness, a little bit of malt, very light malt. Again, it's mostly kind of all hops and floralness, kind of the citrus and floralness at the start of the mouth. Moves on to the kind of mid-tongue, and this is where it gets a wee bit strange. Oh, excuse me. The citrus kind of builds up a wee bit, the floralness kind of dies down. The malt just kind of really starts to kind of weaken off, but kind of halfway along the mid-tongue, you're getting a kind of a slight kind of strange bitterness coming through, which kind of moves on to the aftertaste, and again you're getting a slight kind of bitterness, kind of citrus bitterness as well in the aftertaste, but you're getting this other kind of strange bitterness, and it's, do you know what it actually reminds me of? Have you ever mixed bicarbonate of soda with water and taking it to maybe try and get rid of indigestion or something like that, or sometimes you've added it to milk, you know, to kind of make a kind of alkaline drink to kind of maybe combat heartburn or indigestion. It's like that type of thing. It's got that kind of slightly kind of bicarbonate of soda bitterness to it. That's the kind of stuff. You're still getting the bitterness from the citrus, but you're getting this slightly bicarb kind of bitterness, kind of residue taste as well, which is a bit strange. I mean, it is nicer than all the other ones, because all the other ones were either too sweet or just changed to chemical, or just tasted like, well, we've just taken the wort, filtered it and watered it down, and it's just dreadful. A bit kind of like dishwater kind of flavour and consistency. Whereas this, no, this actually does actually feel like it's been fermented. But there is that, I'm getting it on the tongue there, just slightly. It is. It's very reminiscent of bicarbonate soda, which it's a bit off-putting actually. Back onto the original. There's a more natural sweetness to the original, and it doesn't have that kind of slightly bicarb bitterness at the end. It does have the bitterness from the hops and things like that, which is fine. But overall, the original just seems to be a lot more balanced. You're getting a nicer malty of sweetness at the start, which is continuing on to the kind of mid-tongue. You're still getting the floral and citrus hop flavours to start with, and they are very present in the mid-tongue as well. But as it moves from the mid-tongue onto the aftertaste, you're getting the more kind of natural hoppy bitterness, but you still have that little bit of sweetness from the malt as well, and you have no hint of bicarbonate of soda. which is always a good thing to have in beer. But yes, so yeah, I would say that the original was a lot nicer. So I would say, the original, what would I give that out of 10? I would probably give that Ghost Ship, I mean, this one tastes quite nice. I'd probably maybe give it a 5.5, 6 out of 10, maybe about a 6 out of 10. It's quite a nice, well-balanced brewed beer. Again, maybe not my most favourite, but I'd be quite happy having a glass of it and things like that. And like I said, it goes nice with the meals that I've had with it, and yeah, just a nice kind of decent beer, well-balanced, nicely brewed. On to the 0.5% one. What would I give that out of 10? For a non-alcoholic beer, and out of all the ones that I've tasted, I would say this is the best. It's not quite perfect in any way, shape or form, and it's also quite gassy as well, but it is a lot better than all the other ones. This is the best one I've tasted so far, and it tastes more like beer, and it has a far closer resemblance to the original. It's not quite there to the original kind of standard, but it's a heck of a lot closer than any of the other ones I've got. And it does actually taste like beer. I just don't know about this slight kind of bicarb kind of accents in the aftertaste. It's kind of a bit off-putting, but overall, what would I give this? Overall, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 for a non-alcoholic version. If I was comparing it as to the original got 6, then I would probably say this is probably maybe about a 4. So it is a couple of points off from the original. But if you take it as a non-alcoholic beer, then out of 10 I'm going to give it a 6, because it's the best one I've had. It still has some problems. I mean, there is some problems, and especially that kind of slightly unnatural bitterness, and just the slight texture on the tongue, the kind of mouthfeel is just ever so slightly off. But in general, it's not so bad, and it's the best I've tasted so far. And it's not sickeningly sweet. It doesn't taste chemical or unnatural, apart from the slight bicarb flavour, and it doesn't taste like it's actually some sort of watered down wort either, so it feels like it's been fermented. So for me, it's the best so far. I think we've got another couple still to do, but this has been the best so far. So, thanks for watching, cheers, and bye for now.